The Ukrainian Navy continues to push the Russian fleet out of the Black Sea. Thus, as a result of joint efforts by Navy units, as well as the SBU and other Defense Force units, enemy targets were struck on the Sivash drilling rig in the Black Sea. The Russians used the installed equipment to control attack UAVs, as well as for reconnaissance, targeting, and adjusting strikes on the south of Ukraine. In addition, elite Russian Special Forces units were based on the rig, and weaponry was deployed there, in particular, portable missile systems and other equipment to counter Ukrainian drones and unmanned boats. And the fighters of the 40th Separate Marine Brigade once again launched their Barracuda unmanned surface vessels into the sea. Armed with FPV drones, they delivered precise strikes on enemy watercraft, thereby disrupting the rotation of Russians in the area of Zalesny Port and the occupied Kherson region. The result, one boat and Russian army personnel neutralized. Ukrainian border guards in the North Sloviansk direction continue to destroy Russian occupiers and cut off their supply routes. FPV drones from the destruction team unit struck communication and control antennas for Russian UAVs. Electronic warfare equipment, vehicles, shelters, and enemy personnel were also destroyed. In addition, a precise strike hit a logistics hub used for supplying and moving the invaders. Russian troops have stepped up attempts to break through into Lyman and establish a foothold in its outskirts. They are using sabotage groups for this purpose. As emphasized by Viktor Tregobov, spokesperson for the Joint Forces grouping, the Ukrainian defense remains effective and the armed forces of Ukraine are holding their positions.
There is a large gray zone here from Zarichne and Yampol right up to Lyman itself. These are effectively the routes for their infiltration groups, which the Russians are using to try and break through there. The occupation of the city is seen as one of the steps toward the Sloviansk Kramatorsk agglomeration, one of the Russians' main goals in eastern Ukraine. Viktor Tregobov, spokesperson for the Joint Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, on Suspelna broadcast.
Meanwhile, in the Sloviansk direction, the Ukrainian military repelled attempts by Russian troops to advance in the areas of the settlements of Zakotne, Kriva Luka, Rezdyovka, Ryo-Alexandrivka, and Peskunovka. In the Kostiantinivka sector, the Russian army also attacked in the areas of Ilanivka, Ivanopilya, Novosilivka, and Mykolaipilia. And on the Pokrovsk bridgehead, Russian troops attempted to advance towards the settlements of Belitske, Radinske, Sirhivka, Kotlin, Toretske, Shevchenko, Novokreshene, Mirny, and Mykolaiivka.
The Pokrovsk direction, actually the section of the front between Pokrovsk and Kostiantinivka, and these 2 points remain critically important and the most intense areas of combat engagement between Ukrainian troops and the occupiers. Because without the enemy securing these settlements, without pushing Ukrainian forces as far as possible from the highway that connects Kostiantinivka to Pokrovsk and continues on to Pavlohrad, talking about any preparatory measures regarding further advancement toward Kramatorsk and attacks on the Sloviansk-Kramatorsk agglomeration makes no sense. You need to understand that the enemy is doing everything possible to achieve success there, regardless of any losses. Pokrovsk and Kostiantinivka, until the end of hostilities in these settlements or on the outskirts of these settlements, remain the most important sector with the most intense number of combat engagements, the largest number of combat engagements on the entire front line.
Ukrainian defenders from the Donetsk airport showed exclusive video. Pilots from the Alpha Special Operations Center visited there, where they destroyed a jet-powered Shahhed right on its launcher. They also managed to damage a mobile fire group's vehicle. As the military stated, the most effective way to fight Russian drones and missiles is to destroy their launchers. The Russian army will also be missing a D-20 towed gun in the Donetsk region. It, along with its towing vehicle, was burned by attack drone pilots from the 26th Artillery Brigade. UAV crews regularly identify strategically important enemy targets and effectively strike them, destroying critical equipment, ammunition, or concentrations of enemy personnel. Fighters from the Active Operations Department of the Main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine in the Zaporizhia direction are also massively destroying Russian infantry, artillery, transport, drones, and the invaders' logistics facilities. The Russians try to hide, crawling on all fours, but it doesn't help them. The Russian army has lost more than 1,456,000 soldiers since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the Defense Forces eliminated 1,190 Russian invaders over the past day. They also burned 4 Russian tanks, 1 armored combat vehicle, 58 artillery systems, and 1 multiple-launch rocket system. In addition, 6 air defense systems and more than 350 units of enemy automotive and special equipment were destroyed.